Okay, so thank you. I'm gonna just kind of run through this quickly. That's me. Like Kira said, I'm a delivery manager at Accenture, also Salesforce MVP, but you guys already know that. Really important for branding, I know. Thank you. So quickly, what is personal branding? How many of you guys have a Twitter account? I expect to see all hands. Facebook? So when we think of social media, we think of some of these, right? Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, Pinterest. I also have in a couple other slides about like Snapchat. So we want to talk about personal branding. What is it? So what personal branding is it's not about you. That sounds really strange, doesn't it? Does that make sense to anybody? So what it's really about is what people associate with you. So it's really the process of establishing an image or an impression in the minds of others about you, either if it's on Twitter or if it's at work in your organization. So if somebody thinks to themselves, I want to know more about X, they'll say, I know Anoop knows all about it. That's what you want to do, is you want to connect those two things, what you're known for, with your name. And that could be on Twitter, it could be in the blogosphere, it could be anywhere. But the process of social branding is being able to make that connection. So personal branding doesn't mean self-promotion. It's not all that, hey, look at me, follow me, I want to have the most Twitter followers. It's about creating that awareness of yourself and the value and expertise that you bring. So a good example is publishing a blog post. So I decided to publish something about change management. That's kind of in my realm. I'm not going to turn around and start publishing things on Apex. I'm not going to start talking about triggers. I'm not going to start talking about any of that stuff. Why? That's not my realm of expertise. And nobody is going to think Jodi Wagner and she knows about coding. That's not my realm. Also important is this could be in person or online. So if you think about it, why do people come and see you at Dreamforce if you're speaking at Dreamforce or World Tour? It's because they've heard your name, they've seen your tweets, they've seen your blog posts, they've seen stuff about you. Even in your own company, people have seen your name. Oh, I know her, she speaks at dev user groups. They've made that association. So I keep kind of harping on that. It's the association, the connection of what you want to be known for. So this one's really important. I put Google up here, but it could be any search engine, as if there's others. Google yourself. Seriously, go Google yourself. I'll even wait if you want to go Google yourself right now. Nobody? No takers? What does it say about you? When you Google yourself, what are those first few hits that come back? If it's your holiday weekend in Magaluf, probably not the image you want to project. So if that's what's coming up when you Google yourself, go clean up your social media profiles, because that's going to damage your reputation, unless that's what you're going for. Think through that image you're trying to project, right? I want to be known as a professional. I want to be known as somebody who speaks to groups. I talk about change management. I talk about solo admin stuff, building centers of excellence. Don't want pictures of my drinks. So think about that image that you're trying to project, and think about it in terms of, what do you want people to know you as? A thought leader? Are you great with building apps? Are you always tweeting about things that you've built, really cool stuff? Are you a generalist, somebody who just loves to answer questions? Everybody knows Steve Mel in the community, right? He just answers tons and tons of questions, and that's what we know him for. And having to buy him a beer if he answers a question for you. So really, what is your value proposition? What are you bringing to the table? And why should people seek you out? So one of the first things, and I'll be completely honest with you, I didn't do this. Plan. What is the strategy that you want about you? So when you've decided what you want to do and what you want to be known for, craft that strategy. What is it that you want to share? Do you want to do blog posts, infographics? What is it that you're doing? What's your pitch? You're starting to kind of go through this, but start to kind of put it together and put some meat around it. What kind of content are you posting? How often are you posting? Weekly or monthly? The problem with social media is, think about how fast tweets go by. It's a goldfish memory. With Twitter, you need to be posting constantly. At least, like, most major brands post 2 to 3 every 2 to 3 hours. Facebook's a little bit different. Facebook, the content is more static. So you can post something on Facebook and leave it. Twitter, stuff is happening all the time. It's all about up-to-date news. So if you want to stay relevant, keep tweeting. Use some judgment there too. So pro tip, because I've had to use this once or a bunch of times. Real life gets in the way. We work, we have stuff going on, we have things happening. I'm not always as disciplined as Kier, and every Saturday morning I go and write awesome blog posts. So it's okay to circulate a previous tip, a newsletter, a blog post. I had one on why you should join a user group. You know what, it's kind of outdated now because it was like things you should do in 2016, like it was a bucket list. A little outdated, but guess what? The content's still relevant. So go ahead and do that, especially if you're looking at your statistics as to who's visiting your sites. You can see what are your hard-hitting things and what's driving the most traffic. Tweet it out again. People have missed it. And again, goldfish brains. Social media channels. Okay, I put a bunch here. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, Vine, Snapchat, LinkedIn. Part of being relevant and driving traffic to your content is posting it in the appropriate place. So I've called a few out here. So Facebook. Facebook is great for connecting with family and friends. You can share static content. I know some of you guys do post Salesforce stuff on Facebook. That's kind of a judgment call. I mean, I know a lot of MVPs that do as well. I personally don't use Facebook for my content. I think my family would be like, shut up. Twitter, great for dynamic content, staying up to date, constantly like responding to things, learning things, asking questions, getting responses really quick. Twitter is great for that. LinkedIn, great platform for business updates, sharing blog posts. Quick tip, I don't actually have this written down. You'll drive more traffic to your blog posts if you, and this is the strangest thing ever, you actually kind of copy and paste your blog post into LinkedIn's blog utility. Kind of strange, but I think that's their algorithm. Instagram, sharing photos of products or events. If you sell jewelry, that probably is a great place to display your product. I'm doing what I do, and that's talking to you, and I'm not sure that's really the relevant place for me. So I keep Instagram for personal stuff, but Twitter and LinkedIn is really where you'll find all my content, and then on WordPress where I blog. So what I would say here is absolutely relevant if you're trying to build a professional brand, especially in the Salesforce community. I'm not really sure what people do with Pinterest. Never got into it. I know what it is. Again, pictures, pinning things. Vine, some people find those really funny. I think it's more for humor. Snapchat, use your judgment. LinkedIn, great. So the long and short of this is select a few, start small, because all of this stuff that we've been talking about is a lot of work. This is a lot of work to keep doing this over and over again and making sure that you're hitting the right channels with the right content at the right time. So make sure you start small. Okay. If you post it, they will read it. Maybe. So things that you want to be aware of. Content is king. Create good quality original content. Don't steal from other blog sites. You may lift a few tips, tricks, etc., but reword it as yours. Google has gotten very sensitive on plagiarism. You want an attention-grabbing headline. That's kind of an example of an attention-grabbing headline, right? If you post it, they'll read it, maybe. You want to make sure you have that strong attention-grabbing headline because 80% will go to your blog because of the headline. Only 20% will stay and read it. How do you flip those numbers around, right? I mean, well, you want 80, 100, but. So you want to make sure that you're really driving them to your site with a good headline, but following it up with good information. And don't reinvent the wheel. Look at what works well for yourself. Again, look at your statistics. Look at your analytics. Monitor what's happening. Also, look at what works well for others. Ask other people in the community that are blogging or creating infographics. Phil Walton's great for infographics. So ask these people. in the community, we're all happy to help anybody. Also, delight and surprise your readers. Get them thinking. Maybe say something a little edgy, a little controversial, like lightning is crazy, everything's named lightning. Generate some conversation. That's really what you want. You want people to walk away from your blog post thinking, yeah, I hadn't thought of that. That's really good. Because that's going to keep people talking about what they just read. And that's what you really want. Also, give them a call to action. So coming out of this blog post, what am I going to do? You're not going to preach to me and say, do step 1, step 2, step 3. You're going to give me some tips and hints on how you do something, but it's up to you to make that use case and how you apply it to your life. Close the loop. No, slide's a little wordy. Close the loop. But if you're going to posit a question or problem and you don't have the solution in your blog post, that's a big fail. Don't do that. Images or video, we're visual people. We like pictures. Keep your content short and sweet. Don't over-explain and say a lot of stuff and tell a lot of things, sort of like my presentation could have been shorter. And then be authentic. If it's not natural to you, like the Apex stuff, it's not gonna resonate well with your audience because they're gonna be like, you've been talking about this and now you're trying to be a coder? Like, what just happened? So you wanna be authentic. Again, saying a lot of the same themes again because they're so important. Okay, so I build content and posted it, but where is everyone? So this slide, thanks Todd, this slide's dedicated to you. So you worked hard on creating a great blog post and posted it online. You're like, yeah, this is great. At midnight. Where's your audience? Depending on the social media channel, you want to think about when you're posting things and scheduling it because honestly, most people are looking at stuff online in the afternoon hours. So think about that. If the majority of your blog readers are in the US, you're going to want to think about their afternoon hours. So you want to think about that. And I know it's really hard, right? You write this great blog post. I did all this stuff. Oh, I sound so smart. I want to hit send right now. Maybe you should just schedule it. Wait a little while. Not everybody's reading your blog at 1 in the morning. Also, are you hashtagging things? I know it sounds so junior, like we should know this already, but I can't even tell you how many times I've like gone, oh, this is a great tweet, and I forgot to hashtag or like @mention somebody. Oops, try that again. So you want to make sure you're using the tools within social media. Also, a quick tip here, if you're retweeting other people, try to add a little bit of context to what you're retweeting. People just hit retweet and then don't say anything, so you want people to do the same thing for you. You want them to add a little content to it, like, why is this blog post so great to read? Because of this, like this is what I grabbed out of it. So you want to try to start doing that and you want others to do the same. Look at your analytics. Are you actually driving traffic to your blog post? Are you tweeting enough? Are you getting the word out? Use social media as a megaphone and drive them to your site. Continuously adjust your strategy. If it's not working, trial and error. Keep trying again. And look at other people again. Ask the community. It's what we're here for. And then using tools to monitor traffic and schedule content to stay relevant because it's all about, you have to have that profile. If you don't keep tweeting, blogging, posting, goldfish memory. They forget about you. Thank you. So here are a couple of social media tools. Honestly, there's more social media tools than social media platforms. So I've grabbed Follower Wonk, which is really good for analyzing Twitter statistics. Hootsuite is one that I really like, and I like Hootsuite because it's sort of, and I've had this happen to me a bunch of times. I don't know if anybody's had this happen to them. You write a great post, it gets shared all over the place, but for some reason, your name seems to drop off the tweet. And not to call out Erica, but it happened with Erica, love her to death. She retweeted one of my blog posts, and it went crazy because she has such great social reach, right? But my name sort of got left off somewhere. So that's not driving traffic to, it's driving traffic to my blog, but it's not increasing my Twitter statistics. So you want to do things like use Hootsuite and be able to track that. Social Studio. This wouldn't be a Salesforce group without a Salesforce product, now would it? So it's not free. Most of these other ones are free, or you can have some paid add-ons. Social Studio is not free. I'm still sort of playing with Social Studio. It seems cool, but I don't have a need for cases or leads, so I'm kind of about it. Sorry, Salesforce. Buffer, another good one to post to your networks. Another tip I would say here is, and definitely when it comes to using IFT, so if you guys are familiar with if this then that, I try not to basically write something and share the same thing to all channels. I try to change it a little bit, right? So I try to have something that's a little bit more geared towards Twitter, a little bit more geared towards LinkedIn, maybe a little bit more verbose on LinkedIn because I can start to like mention people. I don't actually use IF because of the fact that I want to target the message via my channel that I'm targeting. So again, if that works best for you and you just kind of want to blast out a little bit of spray and pray kind of methodology, go for it. Another one I didn't add up here is really good is Feedly. Feedly is another one if you want to follow blogs and you want to be able to tweet out stuff that you've heard, great. That's great. But again, you want your brand, right? You want people to know that you're reading their stuff, that you're just not retweeting them. So you want to build some credibility. So again, I would be careful on just kind of like just retweeting things out. Again, I have a link. I can put it in the developer meetup group where there is a ton, so many. You guys probably know way more than I do. So what I did was I also decided to ask some experts. My first one would be Kier. So Kier, do you want to say it or do you want me to say it? Cadence and consistency, regular sharing of content focused on what you want to be known for helps raise your profile, particularly if it's original content that you've created.
Yeah, that's basically it. It's consistency and cadence. I think you can see that at this developer group as well. When we used to meet frequently, we used to get a trickle of people. Once we started meeting every month, people start looking out for that. And I think it's the same with a blog post. If you blog and you blog at a particular time, people are waiting to see that after a while. So cadence is important, consistency as well, so keep them consistent. Don't do, just to hit the numbers, don't do tons of rubbish blog posts because then people will lose interest in you. And original content, I think, is really key. It goes back to what you were saying about retweeting. If you're just retweeting, all you're doing is just pushing a button, there's nothing in there. What you want to be doing is just a couple of lines of, or maybe half a line of what your spin is on that. You think this is right, you think this is wrong, you think this is great. Here's something else you should be thinking about when you're reading it. That kind of stuff is really important.
And as a writer of a post, if you were to read it and say, you know what, I think this, like you hit the nail on the head right here, it makes you go, wow, this is really great. Like that was impactful for you. So it shows me what what my audience thinks is important about my blog post. So I think, and a lot of it is just experiential, right? It's just going through, learning, kind of honing that. So Ben McCarthy had said that he focused on a niche, looking for what topics blogs weren't covering. I feel like Ben covers everything, so I'm not really sure what he's doing there, but love Ben, and he does have a lot of great content, and he definitely tweets and blogs regularly. I don't know how he finds time to work. Yep, he has awesome stuff. Always credit your sources. Don't nab links without giving proper credit to the author, and don't try to cover every platform. So we just talked about that, but definitely credit your sources. Like I said, the Erica thing, it's kind of like, wow, that was my post, and she has great social reach, and damn. And that was from Chris Zulo. So also from Amber Boaz, turn off tweet bots. Nobody cares how many followers you have this week. Sorry, nobody cares. It's great, we're happy. And then don't be just a megaphone sharing, like what Kira's just saying. Don't just keep retweeting stuff, like I'm so relevant, I'm just gonna retweet things. That's not what you're doing, you need to interact, right? So if somebody, and I've had this happen before, I post something and someone's like, okay, but why do you think that way? And that starts an interaction on Twitter, and that's what you're there for, right? You're approachable. You want to be approachable, and you want to be known as being approachable. So don't just retweet the world. Actually interact with people. And then lastly, as I've said before, be authentic and be yourself. So when I started this journey, my Twitter was all over the place. Everything was all over the place. LinkedIn was all over the place. So I'm telling you what the best practices are, but they're still evolving, right? Like I'm still working on some of these things. I'm still kind of getting it under control. Yep, I had a GIF war with Adam Perkis last night. Yep, I did do that. But guess what? It's all in fun because that shows that you're not just Salesforce, right? You're not just one dimension. I'm a person, Yeah, I do Salesforce stuff. I work for Accenture. I'm doing the moonwalk and walking 15 miles overnight for some reason. It's for a good cause. But that's part of me. And I want to show who I am. I'm not just a because otherwise, if I'm just going to tweet Salesforce stuff, I'm going to look like a bot. So I want to be authentic. Back to that authenticity. So this is what will really get you started, and hopefully you guys are awesome in doing these things already. But if you're not, definitely there's a ton of stuff online to get you started. You have to kind of filter through what's relevant and what's not, but hopefully this will help.